is often true when a plea agreement is reached in a case, the ultimate resolution was not what the people had hoped for when charges were originally filed. However, the resolution was fashioned in a way that required the defendant to take some responsibility for his actions while sparing the victims the embarrassment and trauma of discussing these incidents in detail in open court. I naively hoped that the guilty plea would force the defendant to consider his behavior and show remorse for those he harmed. Clearly, based on the information in the PSI, no such remorse exists. The defendant continues to care only about himself. Mr. Strickland, and I say Mr., in hopes that he is not now, nor ever again in the future, in a position to justify the title of pastor. Mr. Strickland was in a powerful position. He could have done real good. He could have mentored these young men at a critical time in their lives. He could have made a positive difference. And instead, he manipulated them, took advantage of them, and forever harmed them for his own warped sexual pleasure.
I want to make the acknowledgement that I'm not here today to be pious and to pretend as though I am innocent and without fault. However, I am not guilty of what I was accused of. I am glad that the 10 most heinous charges were dismissed, and eventually the prosecutors, with their backs against the wall, made a deal that I believe was too good of a deal to put my family through the risk of going through a trial. And also, we had already spent so much and were so financially exhausted with the case, we just simply could not continue to move forward. So I did what my counsel thought was in the best interest of the case by resolving it with minimal collateral damage. I would like to also make the acknowledgement that these same accounts initially were associated with my wife. My wife overcame 9 or 10 of these counts in a probable cause hearing where the burden of proof is at its very lowest. I do feel as though the prosecutor and his office have got a substantial deal in me being able to take this plea because I do not feel that they would have prevailed at trial, and I do not believe that the facts were on their side. With respect to Ms. Carlisle as counsel and her thoughts about me as a pastor and as a leader, I would respectfully respond to that by saying that there is certainly a lack of integrity in the prosecutor's office, and they are pretending to be advocating for victims. But if the accusations that they have were true, how is this justice for the victims? 1 year, no registry, no probation. How is this justice for anybody involved? This is not justice. This is simply a way to, I know that they'll use their imps in the media to try to pretend that they won in some way, or that this is some win for the prosecutor's office. This is not a win for the prosecutor's office, and it's certainly not a win for the cause of justice. But however, it was the best decision for my family, and it was the decision that my counsel encouraged me to make. Most of this propaganda has been launched by my relationship as the president of the NAACP here in Kalamazoo. This was a witch hunt and a lynching from the beginning, and that it was prompted. I need to say this because there are so many that think that it's always prompted from the red side of our political party, but I need to make it known that the Democratic Party, individuals of the Democratic Party, the prosecutor, members of the NAACP, members of Second Baptist Church, all have come together in an attempt to try to dethrone me, to try to defame me. And in many instances, it may seem and appear at this point as though that has worked, but it has not worked without rebuttal. And so we will pursue our side of the truth, and we'll have an opportunity at some point to share that with the surrounding community.